So the most very common question I get, and I had this question this week at my Q&A session, is if the interest rate is so high, does it even make sense today to invest into the real estate? So typically the way it works is that when the interest rate is high, what happens is that the house prices go down. So why would the house prices go down? Why? Because in order for the buyer to purchase this house, to get the mortgage approval from the bank, they have to have enough income. So that in that case, if you're not buying with cash, but if you're actually taking the mortgage from the bank. So you have to have enough income to pay this mortgage. Because look at it this way. Let's say if your mortgage, if you're taking 100,000 and then you're paying 8% interest rate, so that's $8,000 a year. And then with the 3% interest rate, it's $3,000 a year. So you see there is a $5,000 difference. But now let's say if it's going to be 10 times of that. So that means $40,000 a year versus $80,000 a year. That's a big difference. And then let's say if your salary is $50,000, then with the $50,000, okay, you might be able to afford the mortgage of paying $30,000 a year, but now are you going to be able to afford to pay $80,000 a year? And then typically that's kind of how the bank looks. Obviously they have different kind of calculations, they're more in depth, your income has to be a certain amount, but I'm just giving you the sample scenario just to see and understand. So if you don't have enough income to pay high interest rate, then what happens typically is that the house prices get readjusted and then the house prices drop. So then this way, when the house prices drop, in a way, then the monthly payments gets to be readjusted, even though it's still going to be high because you're paying the high interest rate. So now the next question is, which one is actually best? Do you actually buy when the interest rate goes up, or you buy and wait for the interest rate to go down? Here's another thing that I wanted to share with you. So let's say if today the interest rate is 8%, and as I already mentioned, typically the house prices go down. The house that costed 100,000 before now costs 70,000. So you buy this house at 70,000, you pay the 8% interest rate, and then like in a year or two, interest rate changes, it drops down, and then you just refinance that. But you still locked the house at the $70,000. So you bought it at a discount. But if you're buying it at 100,000 with the interest rate that is like 3%, okay, you already overpaid the 30,000. The bottom line is it shouldn't scare you if the interest rate is very high. If the prices are down, then you're getting and locking the great prices. It's always good to buy at any time of the economy. It doesn't matter. So just wanted to share with you an illustration that it shouldn't actually scare you if the interest rate is high. And if you have enough income, the price is good. It's a great investment. In fact, that's how I purchased my first house. I locked the price on the bottom, and the interest rate back then was like 8% or even more. And then once the interest rate started going down, I just started refinancing. But I actually locked the price at the lower interest rate.